Here we have the signal molecule, also known as the ligand, which will bind to the G protein-linked receptor that is integral in the plasma membrane. We also have an inactive G protein due to GDP. We also have an inactive enzyme, which is adenylyl cyclase. Here the ligand binds to the G protein-linked receptor in the process of reception, which changes the shape of the protein. The active G protein with GTP moves towards the inactive enzyme in the process of transduction. The active G protein activates the enzyme. The enzyme adenylyl cyclase is activated, which turns ATP into cyclic AMP, activating a protein kinase to trigger a cell response, which in this case is calcium ions being released from the endoplasmic reticulum. Once the signal molecule is removed, the active G protein becomes inactive with GDP, which deactivates the enzyme and releases a phosphate. Here are the labels for the tyrosine kinase receptor system. Here we have an inactive tyrosine kinase receptor by ADP. We now have the signal molecule or the ligand that will bind to the tyrosine kinase receptor. Once the ligand binds to the receptor, it activates the tyrosine kinase regions, generating ATP. This will fully activate the tyrosine kinase receptor by phosphorylation of the tyrosine kinase, creating a dimer. Here, the inactive relay proteins are activated. Here, the activated relay proteins bind to the phosphorylated tyrosine kinase. This activates multiple responses. In this case, is calcium ions being released from the ER. Once the ligand is removed from the receptor, the tyrosine kinase receptor will no longer be active due to ADP along with the deactivated relay proteins, and the process will start all over again. In normal cells, there is a protein receptor that bonds with the signal molecules to create a cellular response. However, cystic fibrosis is a genetic disorder that causes the protein receptor to malfunction or be non-existent, so the cells don't have the protein to take in the mucus to break it down, which leads to the buildup of mucus in the different body ducts, including the lungs and intestines. The symptoms of cystic fibrosis include frequent coughing, lung infections such as pneumonia, wheezing, and poor weight gain and growth. There is no cure for cystic fibrosis, but bronchodilators are used to help patients breathe, with chest physical therapy with a vibrating vest to help break up the mucus.